All right, welcome back to the outdoor studio. It's peaceful out here. The birds are chirping, wind's blowing, chickens are making noise, the dogs causing problems over here, and the squirrels are out. But we are in episode 19. We are closing out the book of Zechariah. Right here, we are in chapter 14, the day of the Lord. That's the heading. Let me go ahead and get into verse 1. Behold, the day of the Lord is coming, and your spoils will be divided in your midst. And for I will gather all the nations to the battle against Jerusalem. The city shall be taken, the house rifled, and the woman ravished. Half of the city shall go into captivity, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations as he fights in the day of battle. And in the day his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which his faces Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west, making a very large valley. Half of the mountain shall move towards the north and half towards the south. So it's like splitting into kind of reminds me of like Moses splitting the rock to bring the people water. And it's interesting that Jesus says that he brings living water. It's like a spiritual water that never makes you thirst again after drinking that. Let's continue on, verse 6. Wait, we never cut off, split in two. Oh, it ended in verse 4. That's weird. That's not what I normally do. Verse 5. Then you shall flee through my mountain valley, and the mountain valley shall reach to Azra, or Azal. Yes, you shall flee as you fled from the earthquake in the day of Uzziah, king of Judah. Thus the Lord my God will come, and all the saints with you. It shall come to pass in the day that there will be no light, and the light will diminish, and it shall be the one day which is known to the Lord, neither day nor night, but at the evening time it shall happen that it will be light. And in that day it shall be that living water shall flow from Jerusalem, half of them towards the eastern sea, and half of them towards the western sea. In both summer and winter it shall occur. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day it shall be, the Lord is the one, and his name is one. So there you go. You have that singularity of one way, one name, one Savior, Jesus Christ. And so many times people try and divide and conquer us by saying that there's multiple ways, there's multiple paths. And that's not true. It even says anyone who adds to this, let him be accursed. Even if Jesus came down and added to this, he would become accursed, but he wouldn't come down and add to it. Interesting that it says it'll occur both summer and winter. It's going to be both day and night. It's like a decreation aspect here, is just bringing the two back together that God separated. Bringing the seasons together, bringing the darkness and the light together. Picking up in verse 10. All the land shall be turned into plain from Gibab to Ramon, south of Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall be raised up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate to the place of the first gate and the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanel, I know I'm mispronouncing that, to the king's wine presses. The people shall dwell in it, and no longer shall there be utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And it shall be in the plague with which the Lord will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem, which is hard to fight against. If your enemy is dealing in chemical warfare or viruses to attack, that's really hard to fight against that invisible enemy. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets. Ugh. And their tongue shall dissolve in their mouths. That's a bad disease. I could only imagine trying to fight someone and your feet just dissolve where you stand, your eyes dissolve, and your tongue dissolve. That's a pretty gruesome sight. This is not an episode or a passage for children. It shall come to pass in the day that a great panic from the Lord will be among them. Everyone will seize their hand of their neighbor and raise their hands against their neighbor's hand. Judah will fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the surrounding nations shall be gathered together, gold, silver, and apparel in great abundance. Such also shall be the plague on horses and mules, on camels and donkeys, and on all the cattle that will be in those camps. So shall this plague be. Hey, don't bite me. Theo always has to make an appearance. Yep, so that plague is going to affect their animals. It goes back, it kind of sounds like a very much decreation, which we know the day of the Lord is a decreation. And it's kind of like going through the fires, going through the forge, and coming out as pure silver, pure gold, taking away all the imperfections, and in that revelation time, creating a new earth and a new heaven. Let's finish out the book and finish out Zechariah 16 through verse 21. And it shall come to pass that everyone who is left of all nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and keep the feast of the tabernacle. And it shall be that whichever of the families on earth do not come up to Jerusalem to worship the King, Lord of hosts, the King, the Lord of hosts, on them will be no rain. If the families of Egypt will not come up and enter, there shall have no rain. They shall receive the plagues which the Lord strikes the nations who do not come to keep the feast of the tabernacle. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations that do not come up and keep the feast of tabernacles. In that day, holiness, this is all caps, to the Lord shall be engraved on the belts of the horses, and pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yes, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness to the Lord of hosts. Everyone who sacrifices shall come and take them and cook in them. In the day there shall no longer be Canaanites in that house of the Lord of hosts. So it's, in a way, salvation is coming to Jerusalem, to their people, and the remnant that is faithful to God. We will be in Malachi in the next episode, which is the last book till we get in the book of Matthew. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you all. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and stay warm out there. Y'all have a great day. Bye.